What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we are going live for the first time in over 2 months. Reason being, I was out of the country. I actually went to 7 different countries in the last 2 months. I was out there working with Island Hopper TV. For those of you who follow me over there, you already knew. If you guys wanted to keep up with my travels over on Island Hopper TV, you can come over and check us out. You can see, here's the link right here, Island Hopper TV. I also pinned the link to the top of this chat. I went to, I'm only saying this just real quick before I get into the best places to live in Arizona. All over Costa Rica. Also went to Colombia, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, made videos of all those places, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador. So if you guys like travel and you guys got the travel bug, definitely check out Island Hopper TV because we made a lot of really good videos and we got a lot more coming up as we get out there. But back to the subject of living in Arizona. Today we're going to talk about the best places to live in Arizona heading into 2022. This list comes about basically off the top of my mind. It does match up with some of the other lists on the internet, but this is basically my personal opinion. So if you guys like my opinion on where to live, this is where I would say you should probably be looking or considering if you're moving to Arizona. If you guys are excited about this video, smash the like button. I see everybody. Drunken Chef, what's up? YouTube, what's up? Octavio, what's up? Christopher, Yves, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, JB. Nice to see you guys. Thanks to everyone who's already commenting and letting me know where you're tuning in from. So let's dial this in here and talk about Arizona, best places to live. Here's Arizona right here, a big state. We're actually one of the least densely populated states, you know, behind Wyoming and Montana. So we got lots of wide open land in Arizona for those of you who like peace and relaxation. Some of you may say, I'm just trying to get the heck out of the big cities. Well, if that's the case, don't move to Phoenix or Tucson. But some of the top cities on this list that I've made for you guys here in Arizona are going to include a couple different places in Tucson and in Phoenix Metro. So I've cherry picked based on price, and I've also cherry picked based on some isolation for those of you who are looking for that. So let's dive in here and talk about the first one, Prescott. Prescott's interesting because it sits at above 5,000 feet elevation. This is just a look at the Prescott City website. You can see this is actually, for those of you who are moving from California, this, and I'm only going to say this just because this is what people want to know, Prescott is one of the few cities that leans blue. For those of you who are looking to lean blue, Prescott might be nice for you. I've also got some for the people who lean red. And the reason I say that is because I know that that matters to people. But Prescott tends to go blue along with Tucson. Phoenix is a little bit more red, and so are some of these other towns I'm going to talk about if you guys are into the politics of it. But Prescott, lots of Californians have moved there. They've infiltrated the political system. But the place Prescott, it's the former Arizona capital. At one point in time, it was the capital of Arizona. Lots of history with the miners up there. If you go down to Whiskey Row, you're right down there in the center of it all. You could see some Prescott Resort Conference Center. Go on their websites. You guys can get some information. But this right here, the Hacienda Inn, Sheldon Street Lodge, lots of history here in Prescott. It does get 4 seasons. So in the summertime, it's mild, maybe 88, high on some occasions 100 degrees, but that's about as high as it's going to get. In the wintertime, it does get snow because it's high elevation. So if that's your thing, Prescott may be for you. Like I said, it was the original Arizona territorial capital in 1877 before it was moved down to Phoenix in 1889. So there is a great deal of history there. You'll see the old courthouse right here. I'm just going to show you the population so you guys get an idea how small the town is. 45,000 people live there. In the total metro area, 129,000 people. I'll show you on the map where Prescott is. It's right here. So you have Prescott Valley and Prescott. So if you're looking for a great place to live and you like 4 seasons and you want to move it to Arizona for whatever reason, whether it's better taxes or you just want to get out of where you're at, this you can see that it's surrounded by forests. So there's lots of greenery surrounding Prescott. And if you guys want to live close to Prescott, have the modern amenities of an up-and-coming boomtown, basically. You have places like Groom Creek, which is definitely more of a cabin lifestyle. You also have some places like Ponderosa Park, Upper Goldwater Lake. There's lots of lakes up in Prescott. So do consider Prescott if you're looking for a place with 4 seasons. Now, moving down to the Tucson metro area, this is a very scenic location. As you can see, it says this is the Visit Tucson website, but it's Catalina Foothills. So Tucson gets a bad rap in some regards for the south side of Tucson, but if you go to the north of Tucson, you're going to get the Catalina Foothills. That's where it is. This is Mount Lemon, and this is the Santa Catalina Mountains. And right here is the Catalina Foothills. I'll just take you right there on the map, show you what it looks like out there. Lots of golf courses, but really a nice community. It's high desert, it's modern, it's clean, it's safe. Catalina Foothills comes in on this list, and it's one of 2 Tucson metro area places that I'm going to recommend. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Lee Guy. $5 from Lee Guy. He just tipped me, so shout out to Lee. I see you guys, Mike O'Brien, George, Kenny, and who else we got? Mike G, Menifee, California visiting Flagstaff after Christmas. And then we got Status Unknown 32, single with no family. Where do you recommend for me, Jeff? Well, I would say probably Scottsdale, which is going to be coming up on this list. But let's keep talking about Catalina Foothills. So lots of golf courses you can see right here. And it's really beautiful because it's at the base of the Catalina Mountains. And this is what the Catalina Mountains look like, okay? High desert, really a beautiful place. Tucson, when it's great monsoon season like we had this year, I mean, it's one of the most pristine places you could ever possibly live. So Catalina Foothills, guys, if you guys are looking, there you have it. Next up on the list, we are going to dial in with Oro Valley. Right up the road from Catalina Foothills is Oro Valley. It's a different town, different municipality, and it's actually more on the west side of the Catalina Mountains. So you have Catalina Foothills, Oro Valley, side by side, but both equally nice towns, very similar. And I'll just show you some more Oro Valley information. Here's the website, orovalleyaz.gov. Again, hills, lots of saguaro cactuses out there in Oro Valley. Just get used to that. And if you wanted to know the population of Oro Valley, it is, well, the elevation is 2,600 feet and 47,000. So about the same size as Prescott. This one's not going to get 4 seasons. So hot summers, not as hot as Phoenix Metro. Tucson's about 7 degrees cooler in the summertime than Phoenix Metro. It'll be 114 in Phoenix, 107 in Tucson. It'll be 118 in Phoenix, and it'll be 111 in Tucson. That's on average. Obviously, it doesn't always fall in line. I would say also Tucson Metro gets more monsoons than Phoenix Metro. Thanks to everybody who already hit the likes. We have 27 likes, 1 super chat, and we have 65 people watching. And I see Elizabeth. What's up, Jeff? Great to see you again. Hope the trips were awesome for you. Yes, it was great. And thanks to everyone who came over from living in Arizona to watch Island Hopper TV as we went around and show you guys some cool places to go. As you guys could see, also the new clothing brand came out, Cobra, wearing some of the new apparel. This is just some stuff that I ordered. I like it. I don't know if everyone's going to like the long sleeve here in Arizona. It's not going to keep you warm in the winter time. We do have some sweaters that I'll be rolling out, but these are great in the summertime because they're UV resistant and you don't have to get completely fried by the sun when you're hiking, but you don't also sweat because it's very lightweight. It's dry fit. Cobra clothing. Cobra, for those of you who don't know, it's copper in Spanish. And what is the copper state? Arizona. That's why we call it Cobra. Anyway, so we're moving right on here to now Gilbert. So Gilbert is the first one on this list from Phoenix Metro. You can see the old famous water tank, which is basically irrelevant nowadays. It's just an iconic old landmark. Gilbert is flat, but it's surrounded by mountains in all directions. And it's up and coming. It's got a good school system, for those of you who find that to be important. It's also building mass transit infrastructure, but it's mostly known for its past as farming community. Lots of citrus was grown in the Mesa area down into Gilbert. Gilbert does have a population of around 267,000 people. It's a big suburb. We have big suburbs out here. And just to tell you, in the Phoenix metro area, which includes Gilbert, 5.2 million. We're actually we're the 10th largest metropolitan city in the country. Phoenix in and of itself is the 6th largest city in the country. So it might even be 5th now. It just depends on what census data you're pulling. But Gilbert, definitely not a Four Seasons destination. It's got basically 2 seasons. 2 seasons, and I would say that season is a mild winter and then hot summer. And then you get like about a month and a half in between of decent weather during the fall and during the spring. But I mean, today, here in December right now in Phoenix Metro, temperatures hover anywhere between 65 to 72. Sometimes we'll get days where it rains. It'll be in the 50s, but it doesn't last very long. We don't get like weeks of nonstop rain. And if it does, it's an El Nino, which is very rare. Rod XRP says, I live in Prescott, and believe me, it is not considered blue. Right? I know. I went up there. It seemed like it was not very blue, but it is known to be blue because of lots of Californians move there. So, but Rod, he says he lives there. He says, believe him, it's not blue. So he's saying if you're on the red team, come on out. And I'm only mentioning that because you would be surprised how many people find that to be very important to them. What do they believe? What do people in that area believe? Because they want to be around like-minded people. And I'm trying to be non-biased here. That's why I'm saying blue and red. There's 2 teams. That's just the way it is. City. So you have the next city is Scottsdale. So the city of Scottsdale is definitely on the list. It's a little bit more expensive, and it is very nice. Okay. Very modern. This is where the big money types live. Frank Lloyd Wright, that's his old building there. And you have Old Town Scottsdale. But the population, 241,000, just a little bit smaller. Here's the founder, Winfield Scott, and his wife, back when it was just a small little dust town. They say the West's finest city. And so if we just show you guys where Gilbert is, you can get, if you do choose Gilbert, you can also look at Chandler. Chandler's probably better location. Gilbert's probably better school system. But they're both very comparable. I mean, Chandler, Gilbert is the same size as Mesa. Some people like Mesa. If you do Mesa, go west, or east, I'm sorry. They don't typically like West Mesa because it's a higher crime area. But Gilbert, Chandler, they don't really have the crime that Mesa has. And then I will say one more area that's going to get an honorable mention. This is an up-and-coming town. My brother, who's a real estate agent, I will put a link in the description to his website. I need to update that link, but it will be there soon. For those of you who know my brother, he's a real estate agent. I called him before I made this, and I said, do you have anything to recommend? He said, Goodyear and Buckeye are actually pretty nice places with affordable homes. So you get good home quality in an up-and-coming area, and that's going to be over here on the west side. Okay, you see they've got a lot. Anytime you see these green farms, they're basically plowing away the farms and they're building homes. Every time you see a farm, it used to be, or every time you see a new home development, it probably was an old farm. These farmers are selling out, and they're turning that water that was used to that into drinking water, I guess. But Goodyear right here, and then Buckeye, Verado right here. This is Buckeye. This whole area is going to be filled in at some point in time. They've got the 303. They've even got a new freeway that they're getting ready to build. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's the 17 or the 16, maybe the 15. It basically goes to Las Vegas. Anyone know the name of the new freeway? Someone was asking about the mask mandates here in Arizona. Okay, so as you guys know, like I said, I went around on Island Hopper TV. Costa Rica, they didn't have the vaccine mandate and they didn't have the testing requirement to get in, but everywhere you went, you had to wear a mask, even outside. That was the same. Well, it was kind of iffy. It was like in the big city they did it. Well, I come back to Arizona and I'm like, finally I can take off the mask, because everywhere I went, they were always all about the mask, even outside. Here in Phoenix, you go inside buildings without masks. Everywhere. You can wear it if you want, but most people don't wear the mask. I mean, aside from the workers do. Like the people behind the counter, I think they have to, and I feel bad for them for that. But no, so Arizona, from what I can tell, I mean, I was gone for 2 months. It seems like the people out here are not about those mandates. No. They did try it, and they got a lot of resistance. So if you're one of those people who's all about the mandates, Arizona may not be for you, because I'm just telling you, out here there was a big pushback against the mandates. So Victor says, I heard Arizona was becoming really expensive. Yes, it is, but everywhere in the country is becoming expensive. I went up to Montana. They said, oh, I heard Montana is becoming really expensive. People in New York and LA and San Francisco are complaining about it becoming really expensive. So across the entire nation, inflation happened and prices went way up. This happened all across the country. So inflation in the last 6 months, I don't know 7 months, it's just really, I guess home prices have been going up for 2 years now. Well, they've been slowly going up, but they've accelerated over the last 2 years. In terms of like gas and gasoline and transportation and other things like food, it's all gone up as well. I don't know where you're coming from, but yeah. Someone said water is horrible. Okay, can you elaborate on what you mean water is horrible? Susan says, how is the open border affecting Arizona? It's not having an impact at all. There's no negative experience that Arizona is having because of an open border. Not a negative. If anything, it was probably having a positive, because what happened in Arizona was there was such a demand for labor, they couldn't find any workers. So part of the problem was when they stopped allowing so many people from south of the border to come across the border, they couldn't find people to build the homes. Because if you go out there and you see who works out in the construction, most of them are from south of the border. And they're not local American people. So if anything, we need more people coming to do those jobs that Americans don't want to do, immigrants. So I would say that no, there is no, I have personally not seen or heard of a negative impact in the Phoenix area or Tucson area from what you're calling the open border. So I would say, from what I've understood, we need more immigrants out here helping out with the work that needs to be done, so that you guys can have a house to live in, so that you can, so these people that are coming across the border are actually more helpful than they get credit for. So I would say keep an eye on that. Bradley says, as totally affected by open border drugs, human trafficking. That has been going on for many years. I didn't know it was getting worse. Can someone, if you have a link or a piece of literature that shows that the problem has been getting worse, I can say something. But from everything that I've seen, I've never seen anything that says the problem is getting worse over the last 10 years. I've only heard that it stabilized or improved since what you would call 2008 or the Bush era. It reached its peak in Phoenix during the Bush era. That was what the data that I saw. If you have data that's contrary to that, I can present it and share the opposite viewpoint of that. Underdog says, water in Buckeye smells like rotten eggs, and that's after filtering. No, Rod, I would look it up, but I can't while I'm going live. But if you have a link to something that can show me that that I'm incorrect, that the problem is getting worse in terms of crime in Phoenix Metro or in Tucson, I will pull it up. So if you guys have a link that shows that, and it's from a credible, resource, whether it's a FBI data or something like that, we can pull that data and take a look, because we definitely don't want to misinform. But from my experience, no, it has not been getting worse. As someone who grew up in Phoenix since the 80s and 90s, and I was gone in the military for a few years there, but I came back here. No, I wouldn't say it's gotten worse. And I would say it was pretty dangerous around like 2008 to 2012. There was probably the most dangerous time. And it depends on where you live. I mean, if you talk about crime in Phoenix Metro, I mean, Scottsdale safe, Chandler safe, Gilbert safe, Queen Creek safe. I mean, there's one area in Phoenix that's probably not as safe as the others, which would probably be South Mountain area, just right around here. This area. And then I think they said the most dangerous place in Arizona is in Tolleson, which is like, so West Phoenix, this area right here. And if you look here in West Phoenix, this is all industrial. So it's like, where do industrial buildings get built? In cheap land areas. So, you know, when the cheap land, you know, low income, that's typically where there's more problems, unfortunately. Do you see Tucson population staying the same, or is it growing in population in your opinion? Oh, absolutely, Tucson is growing. Tucson is booming, yeah. I mean, it might not be Tucson city limits, but the surrounding areas around Tucson are booming. In particular, Oro Valley, this whole area right here, Tortolita, this Oro Valley area is growing. Also, West Tucson around here, Drexel Heights, Tucson Estates, around the National Park area. And there is some growth outward. It's not growing like it does in Phoenix. Phoenix is like the hub. It's the one that's growing. But they have a proposed plan, this whole area in between Chandler and Tucson, well, Phoenix and Tucson here, is considered the Arizona Sun Corridor, and America 2050. They say this whole thing's going to be filled in with homes. That's why they're building like Lucid Motors out in Coolidge. You have Eloy, Picacho, Casa Grande. Well, depending on how you call it, Casa Grande. Some people call it Casa Grande, Casa Grande. In Spanish, it would be Casa Grande. So, but in Arizona, we call it Casa Grande most of the time. Can you compare Flagstaff, Phoenix, and Tucson, best city for raising a family? I would say the best place to raise a family, man, if you could live in Oro Valley or Catalina Foothills, that's pretty good. If you're to live in Phoenix Metro, I would say Scottsdale, Peoria, or Chandler is a good place to raise a family. If you were to go to Flagstaff, it doesn't really have any suburbs. But you got to love snow because it's almost 8,000 feet elevation. Almost 8,000 feet. Thank you, Lee, for all the super chats. Lee's already given $15 in tips. Thanks. Appreciate you. This is the Flagstaff Mall, but I mean, it's really a small town. It's sitting at the base of the San Francisco Peak, also known as Humphreys Peak. It's named after, they call it San Francisco Peak, named after San Francisco Assisi, the same guy that San Francisco, California is named after. Actually, the San Francisco guy, he was pretty popular, but it's actually called Humphreys Peak. That's the most common name for it, and it also has an indigenous name. I don't know that off the top of my head, but Arizona Snow Bowl is right there. What's Arizona going to do with its situation with the Colorado River? Well, from what I understand, it's not really an issue for Arizona because we have the tributaries. I've mentioned this several times before, so some of you are going to have to hear this again. But unlike the other places, California, we have the Salt River Project, okay, which you could see this. If you want to talk about the water, if this lake were to do what Lake Mead did and went down to like basically, you know, 30, 40, 50 feet below its common water level, but this lake is one reservoir. They hold the water. They hold the water in Apache Lake, then they hold the water in Canyon Lake, and then they hold the water in Saguaro Lake. That's the SRP. So we have tons of drinking water coming from the White Mountains. These are the White Mountains where Apache sitgreaves are, okay? So a lot of our water comes from here. That's not even including the water table. Susan says, appreciate your addressing all these open issues. Thank you, Susan, for the super chat. Yeah, so, you know, yeah, we pull off the Colorado River, and where we get the Colorado River, where you could see the water level for us, because it's actually like a cap and trade kind of situation. With, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term cap and trade, which is basically every state gets a certain amount of water, and their job is to retain and use that water responsibly. Well, Lake Pleasant is basically the Colorado River water. So if you go to Lake Pleasant and you see it way down, which I've almost never seen it way down, so when someone's freaking out about that's something to keep in mind. But the canal you could see the canal right here. This is the CAP, Central Arizona Project. And you can see the canal that comes in from Pleasant right there. But there's another one. There's more. There's the Horseshoe Reservoir, and there's the Bartlett Lake Reservoir, which eventually pours into the Salt River Project as well, which is the Verde River. You can see that by Rio Verde. But sometimes you could see that Bartlett Lake, the Verde hasn't been producing as much water as the Salt or as the Colorado has. So you can see the water levels at Bartlett Lake are a bit down. Someone said stop watering the golf courses. Well, there's a common misconception about the golf courses, because a lot of people don't even realize this, but they use effluent water. So if you guys don't know what effluent water is, I can explain it, and then you will realize that the golf courses are not the biggest problem, because they use recycled water. So effluent water is defined by the United States Effluent or Environmental Protection Agency as wastewater, treated or untreated. So when you go around Phoenix Metro, you'll notice that they have these things called water treatment plants. And they take sewage, your sewage, and where do they put it? So when you flush the toilet, where does all that water go? Well, it goes into your golf courses. That's why you're never supposed to drink any of the water out of the sprinklers at the golf course. And that's why the water coming out of the sprinklers at the golf courses stinks so bad, because it's recycled water. Now, what better water to use than on a golf course? And actually, so a lot of people, they change their tune when they're like, oh yeah, where does all that water go? Well, they don't want it going into the water table, do they? Because, people flushing their toilets, taking showers, where's all that water going to go? So putting it into the golf courses actually ended up being a great solution, and it's a win-win for everyone. Golfers win, Arizona gets more greenery, and they get to find a way for the solution for the bacteria and bio waste that's out there. Someone says not every golf course uses recycled water. Well, most of them in the Phoenix metro area do use recycled water. There might be a few that don't. But typically they did clamp down on those, and those will usually be the golf courses that you see in the summertime that are yellow. So when you're driving by a golf course and you're like, oh no, I would not play that dog track. That's what they call a golf course that has yellow grass, because it's basically like hitting off dirt, because it's basically Bermuda grass that hasn't been watered. Those are the guys who are probably have limitations on the water they can use. Also because they're not getting the income to pay for the process. So this is something that a lot of people, I don't think they're aware of the fact that there is a thing called effluent water, which is basically wastewater treatment of bio-waste. Luli says, staying at the Saguaro Hotel in February, apparently. Never heard of the Saguaro Hotel. I don't know where it's at. I mean, where is it? I'm trying to move from Santa Barbara County to Arizona. You'll be saving a lot of money. It's affluent with an E. What are your temperatures in January to February? Coming to visit and need to know what kind of clothing to pack, says Enlightened Truth Seeker. February is like our coldest month here in Phoenix, or in Arizona, I would say. So, I mean, if it's going to snow in Arizona, it typically happens in February. It happened like the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't remember how many years in a row it snowed in the higher elevations around the Phoenix metro area. It doesn't snow in Phoenix. The Valley of Phoenix does not get snow. But as you know, the Valley of Phoenix, sitting at like 1,000 something elevation, and it rises way up as you get into like Tonto Hills or Scottsdale. North Scottsdale will get snow. So the higher elevations up on the mountains, that's why you'll see around the Phoenix metro area, there will be white-capped mountains, but it won't snow right there in the valley. The coldest I saw last summer or last winter around February, a couple days, it was in the 30s, at 3 in the afternoon, in the 30s. It's about as cold as it will get. So I would say pants and a jacket. But then again, you could also have a fluke situation happen where it's February and it's 72 degrees. But it won't be in the 80s, I don't think, in January or February. It could happen. I mean, anything's possible in an El Nino or La Nina, and we don't really know when the La Nina or El Nino is going to hit. That's the thing. People are asking about Cave Creek a lot here. That's Cave Creek right here. They're saying Cave Creek is super pretty and safe and cheaper than most $450K nice house. Cave Creek's actually pretty expensive. Cave Creek's small because there's only so much land right here, and Carefree's the most expensive zip code in all the country, and it's right next to Carefree, or in all the state. This whole area right here is really small, big money up here. If you got the big money, yeah, Cave Creek's great. But the poor man's Cave Creek is going to be New River, which is right down Carefree Highway. That's right over here. So for those of you who are going to be priced out of Cave Creek and Carefree, you just head over to New River. Someone said they want to buy a ranch in Arizona. Tatum Ranch isn't a ranch, but Tatum Ranch is right here. This area right here, there is room to grow. This may get filled in at some point in time, this whole area between Jomax and Pinnacle Peak. There's a big power station right here, like one of the big substations, power substations. For those of you who don't know where Phoenix or most of Arizona gets its power from, I'll show you. It actually comes from this place called Palo Verde Nuclear Power Plant. And we have a nuclear power plant out here in Arizona. Let me see if I can find it. I know it's in Palo Verde. I'm surprised I can't see it on the map here. Oh man, is this it over here? Yeah, this is it. So it's way out there out by Buckeye. But this is the power plant. They got a bunch of reactors. You can see the reactors, but because the people that were ahead of the curve, they built a nuclear power plant, which was controversial at the time. And they built this nuclear power plant, and it's just supercharged Arizona's. That's why we don't have the problem that Texas has. But if we ever got into a situation where we did have a grid meltdown, the time you wouldn't want that to happen would be the summertime. If Arizona had a situation like Texas had last winter, but in the summertime, I mean, all those people pulling off the air conditioner, because Arizona is basically habitable because of central cooling. I mean, central cooling systems made Arizona habitable for millions. Before, it was only tolerable for miners and indigenous tribes, Native Americans. Not too many other people were too interested in living in Phoenix because of the extreme summers. But then when the air conditioning system was created and built, that basically made it possible, along with Theodore Roosevelt creating the SRP, Central Salt River Project. Because Teddy Roosevelt, that's why they call it Roosevelt Lake here, is because he's the one who created the lake, had the vision that said one day a great civilization will rise from the ashes like a phoenix. He was playing on the name, but he said there will be a great civilization that will live in the valley down below the Salt River. And the reason they call it Phoenix is because it is like a bird rising from the ashes, a rebirth of a city that once existed, which was part of the Hohokam people. The Hohokam people were the ones who basically taught the Mormons in Mesa, because if you go down to Mesa, you'll get the whole history on the Native Americans who had a canal system that was basically used by the Mormon people, the LDS, well, they were called Mormons when they settled in Mesa on the Salt River. They used the exact same canal system that the Hohokam people who once lived in this valley used before the Mormons arrived. But there's like a Mormon monument over here. I don't know exactly where, but it talks about that whole Lehigh Crossing right here. This Lehigh, this is where it's only got 6 reviews. That's crazy. This is a big history right here. If you guys go there, there's nothing to really see. But at one point in time, before they dammed up the Salt River, this was they used to cross the Salt River right here, and it was the Lehigh Crossing. Toyota says, yeah, because it's burning hot down there in the summer, as for all of us in AZ. Yeah, it's hot in Arizona. He says, yeah, we have lots of solar here. Cutie says, moving to North Scottsdale, Carefree, how far am I going to the malls and such? Okay, so if you're moving to Carefree, let's put that into perspective. So here's Cave Creek Carefree, and the closest mall you're going to have is going to be Kierland, which is just next to the Scottsdale Air Park. This is Kierland Commons. There they got an Apple store. They've got, it's outdoor. I mean, I'll just show you what the Kierland Commons looks like in Scottsdale. But Scottsdale is basically going to be your area, this little spot right here. It's outdoor. In the summertime, it's not so nice. In the wintertime, it's perfect. Kind of looks like Beverly Hills, doesn't it? We used to have the Paradise Valley Mall, but that's basically being torn down. This whole area right here, Paradise Valley Mall, that's where you used to go, but it's being torn down, and they've got like a master plan community being built right here off of Tatum Boulevard. You guys wanted to read up on that. If you want to call Desert Ridge a mall, which it probably is, it's a shopping area. You could go to Desert Ridge Marketplace. It does not have like an Apple store or anything like that, but yeah, it is actually called a shopping mall. So you could go to Desert Ridge. They do have an AMC. They have Dave & Buster's. It's funny because I actually live right next to this. I just don't consider it a very... it was built in like the year 2000, and it was a big deal, but I don't consider it to be... I don't know. I don't think it's the greatest place. I'd rather go to Kierland or even down by Scottsdale Fashion Square. Scottsdale Fashion Square is going to be more down by right here. So it's off Camelback. There's an area down here called Tom Scott. It's kind of up and coming if you're looking for a community to go to. It's Tom Scott, which is Thomas and Scottsdale Road. That's what they just call it, is Tom Scott. But it's kind of an up and coming area. If you go down there, you'll notice they're building. This is Thomas and Scottsdale. They've got a lot of construction projects. See, here's like the Tom Scott. Is a bunch of apartments being built, and they're kind of modernizing the area south of Scottsdale Fashion Square. So you could check out Tom Scott, which is Thomas and Scottsdale Road. Yeah, Paradise Valley Mall, no more. But that was the spot. I mean, anybody who grew up in North Phoenix, whether you went to Paradise Valley, Shadow Mountain, or Cave Creek, you would have gone to Paradise Valley for basically everything. PV Mall. Anyway, I want to live closer to my parents in Yuma, but I want to live somewhere with decent civilization. What city would you recommend? Phoenix, Tucson, other? If you're trying to be close to Yuma, you need to be in Tucson. Yuma is the hottest. It's like the hottest place in America. It's the hottest place in America. It's the hottest city in America, I think. I mean, Death Valley's hot, Vegas is hot, but Lake Havasu City's hot in the summer. In the wintertime, it's great. This is Yuma right here. Someone says, why aren't there Hispanics in Scottsdale coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico? There is. There's Hispanics in Scottsdale. I mean, I know plenty of them. But I see what you're saying. I mean, you might notice that there's a lot of white people there. 'Cause, I mean, I think that's the angle you're taking, right? What is this? DFV, closest to Yuma is San Diego. Yeah. If you want to be close to San Diego, go to Yuma. For sure, because you just take the Highway 8 right into San Diego, right through El Centro. They do have a massive city on the border right there. It's called Mexicali, and the other side's Calexico, but the Mexico side is way bigger than Calexico. I mean, there's nothing going on in Calexico hardly, El Centro is not much, but Mexicali is like this huge city. I mean, it's like almost over 1 million people. This cutie says, yeah, Lowell, maybe it's just because I'm from New Mexico. Yeah, I mean, New Mexico. I mean, you guys have to realize I just came from Latin America for 2 months. I went through Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico. I mean, I was just in Mexico. I went to Zihuatanejo. I went to Puerto Escondido in Oaxaca, Mexico City. And I mean, there's even in Mexico, they have like, you know, they have what you would call gentrification or something like this, like segregation of like, you know, certain people over in one side of the town and then they look different in the other side of town. Even in Mexico City. I mean, if you go to Mexico City, okay, I'll just show you guys. And if you guys check my channel, Living in Island Hopper TV, I mean, I'll show you're going to see the videos. I'm going to make a video of Mexico City coming up. It's coming up in like the next 2 weeks. But we show you all around Mexico City. We went through Mexico City hard. And we went up to Guanajuato and we went up to Querétaro. But in Mexico City, if you go to like this place called Santa Fe, so there's like, you want skyscrapers, like you want some like major freaking big buildings, go to this place, Santa Fe. Wait, that's not it. How did I end up there? Let me see. Santa Fe. Oh, right here. I mean, they got huge skyscrapers. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. I mean, it looks just like Los Angeles right here. Wait a second. It's called Santa Fe, but I mean, the people there don't look like the rest of Mexico. I'll say that. They look more Spanish. So, you know, they have that even in Mexico. Let's see. It's right here. This. Avenue Santa Fe. I mean, this is Mexico City. People don't even realize Mexico City looks like this. But I mean, that looks like you're driving through, you know, downtown Los Angeles, right? But that's Mexico City. Every building's brand new, high rises, skyscrapers. So even Mexico does it where they have certain parts of town where people don't look like the rest of the country. But beautiful place in Mexico City right there in Santa Fe. A lot of people don't realize that about Mexico City. What's the best place to eat in Tucson? We are moving there on Monday. Best place to eat in Tucson? Mostly it's going to be Mexican food. You know, because there's like a variety of different cuisines for Mexican food. You know, they have like if I go up, it seemed like I found some really good restaurants on this Oracle Road here. There was one, I think it was Oaxaca. Let's see. There was one that was, it was Guadalajara. There's this Guadalajara original grill. That one's pretty good. As you guys know, Guadalajara is a state in Mexico, but it's in Jalisco. So, you know, you're going to have this variety of different types of Mexican food that you're going to have. You're going to have like Oaxaca style dishes are going to be like, because Oaxaca is considered the food capital of Mexico. And then you have like Jalisco, then you have like Michoacan, then you have Mexico, which is Mexico City, the state of Mexico. And then you have like Baja. So, you know, it just depends on what kind of cuisine you like. But this Guadalajara original grill I ate there, I'd say that's a pretty good place to go. You know, and then you're going to have restaurants all across that you can explore. I mean, I'm sure you could get that information off of Yelp. I mean, if you really wanted to dial it in. Toyota says 4th Avenue has good Mexican food in Tucson. 4th Avenue, that's like, let's see if I can get. So you have 1st Avenue. It's closer to like downtown. You have Campbell. Somewhere around here is 4th Avenue. I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm not like the Tucson guru of the world. I mean, I go down to Tucson to the downtown area, and I'm like, it's okay down like downtown Tucson. If you go to downtown Tucson, you're not like, gosh, this is such an affluent, amazing city. I can't wait to go to downtown Tucson. People don't do that. Let's see. Where is the? Here's the downtown Tucson right here. So you got 6th Avenue. It's next to the Presidio. I would say Arizona or University of Arizona is more of an area to find restaurants than downtown Tucson, but you do have a couple down there that stand out, like you said, on 4th Ave. Here's 4th Ave right here. What's the best area in Tucson to live? If you must have missed the whole beginning of this video, and that's fine, I'll tell you. It's Catalina Foothills and Oro Valley. The reason that it's so great up there is because it's at the base of the Santa Catalina Mountains. So you're constant. I'll just show you what it looks like. You're just constantly going up the hill, and the higher up the hill you go, I mean, these are all homes like tucked away. You can see the mountain in the distance there. So, this was probably taken in. I mean, this was probably taken during a drought or a dry season, because it does not look very green. Like, they got tons of rain this summer for the monsoon, so Tucson basically was teeming with life. Ghost Protocol, what did he say? He said, just kidding, you didn't have to do this. You just got home. Merry Christmas, bro, and welcome back. Oh, I know who Ghost Protocol is. John. Oh, man. Oh man, thank you. Yeah, you're right. The Christmas edition, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. Let's see here. And we got, yeah, John, I got you. And then I didn't know your name was Ghost Protocol on here. Best place to live in Yuma? Oh gosh, I'm surprised people are still asking about Yuma. Of all the places, they want to move to Yuma. Well, it depends. What's your budget? Because Fortuna Foothills is where all the RV campers go. But Yuma's not gonna like. I mean, this is like the mobile homes, right? So a lot of retirees go out here to Fortuna. I don't think there is a such thing as the best place to live in Yuma. Someone in the comments want to answer that question, because you're talking about Yuma here, man. Yuma. Practice? What is practice, man? Oh, man. 103 likes. Thanks to everyone who Hulk smashed the like button. And, yeah, so if you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. That is what we ask of you around here, and you guys have already done that 103 times. And that's why the channel is growing, and that's what keeps me giving information and trying to answer as many questions as I can. Yeah, see, they're saying, like, Yuma. Yeah. Like, there's like someone saying, hey, what's the best place to live in Kingman? And I do get those questions, because everyone's like, Kingman? Should I live in Kingman? Can you talk about Kingman? And I'm not picking on nobody, by the way. It sounds like I'm being a smart aleck. But I am being a smart aleck. But I'm also saying, if you go to Kingman and you're expecting an amazing place on planet Earth, I mean, you might have better luck moving to like Wichita, Kansas, or Nebraska than to move to Kingman. Let's put it like this. Kingman is closer to Las Vegas than it is to Phoenix, okay? Oh, man. Valentina, hi, Jeff. Would you please explore a little bit this area? Turkey Creek Dairy, East Dairy, Pierce, Arizona. They produce an artificial meat. I'm curious, do they hire people? Pierce, Arizona. Hold on. That's honestly, that's a place I haven't been to, or if I have, I have to remember. Let's see, where is it located? Oh, it's down by. No, I don't think I've been down that way. I don't think I've been down this way. In terms of, see, I would have had to go to Agua Prieta to get there, and I've recently been to Wilcox like twice, because I went out to the Dos Cabezas and I went out to the Chiricahuas. But going down this road to Cochise or to Sunsites or Sunazona, no, And then I never crossed the border in Agua Prieta, Douglas. I don't think I might have crossed it when I was a kid, but recent memory, no, I haven't. So I would say that they do have a lot of cows down there. I know they have a lot of cow farms down there in Wilcox. It's right there on the train tracks. Well, Wilcox is, but no, I mean Dragoon. They got some unique rock formations out here. And his old stagecoach pass, you know, kind of high elevation. I mean, as far as quality of life out there, you might get a good paying job, but you're not gonna like fall in love with living there. Safford area, Safford's decent. It's right here on it's off the Gila River, and they didn't dam up the Gila right by there, so you kind of get like the flow of the Gila River. Safford's not entirely bad. There's also some mountains nearby, like Mount Graham, and then there's a mine right here. What mine is this? I can't remember. Is that Morenci? No, Morenci's up here. They got a lot of people live in Safford for farming or for mining. Those are the two industries, and then everyone who works the hourly jobs at Circle K and McDonald's. You know. Octavio says, what? Hi, good place for live too. What? Yeah, we went over that list. If you guys missed that, you'll have to watch at the beginning, but it was basically Prescott, Catalina Foothills, Oro Valley, Gilbert, Scottsdale. We went over all that. We're now 51 minutes into this video. Thanks to 131 people who hit the like button, by the way. Someone said, where have I been? Well, like for the last 2 months, I've been traveling in Latin America. I'll show you all the videos that we made. We went to Costa Rica. If you guys want to subscribe to this channel, Island Hopper TV, you could see all of the stuff if you guys like to travel. And the cool thing is we went to the countries that didn't require the vax or the testing to get in. You just had to wear your mask. But that was easy because they didn't have all these like loopholes you had to jump through like all the other countries do in the rest of the world. So Costa Rica, no real loopholes or hurdles. Colombia, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. U.S. Virgin Islands is a part of America, so it's not too bad. But you have to do a test to get in there. And same with Puerto Rico. But then we went to El Salvador. El Salvador is very interesting. It's probably one of the more underrated places. So is Guatemala. Actually, we're getting ready to make the videos here coming up for Guatemala and El Salvador. If you like really cool places, Guatemala and El Salvador, you're going to want to watch those videos. But obviously, Costa Rica was probably my favorite. But everyone knows about Costa Rica. How do I afford all this? Well, part of it is the Bitcoin, okay? But these YouTube channels also make income. I mean, you make YouTube videos and they make income. I mean, this Rio de Janeiro video got 1.4 million views. Singapore got 737,000 views. I mean, views equal dollars. So also I also work for a travel company. So I'm one of those guys that believes you got to have like at least 5 sources of income at least. So, YouTube ad revenue, a main job, investments, stocks, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin had a big year this year. I mean, I think it started the year at like 20,000. It went as high as 65,000. There's other alternative cryptocurrencies. So, I was even having a conversation with somebody on the plane coming back from San Diego to Phoenix because we crossed the border on the land from Tijuana into San Diego at the CBX, which is the Cross Border Express. It's a land bridge that you cross over at the airport into Otay Mesa in San Diego. But I was having a conversation with him on the flight home, and I was saying, you got to be able to do research. If you don't do research on where the trends are headed moving forward, then you won't know where to put your investment money. So people asking me always, how do you afford it? Well, I try to pay attention to what's going on in the world around me, and then I make investments. And you can't win them all. I mean, Did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win every game last year? I think they lost 5, right? So I mean, if you're scared to lose here and there, the key is winning more than you lose. But you can't you can't be scared to get tackled. I mean, if you're scared to get tackled, how are you going to score a touchdown? You can't be scared to get knocked down. And I would say that's like the secret formula that I would say you got to apply. You got to do your research. And when someone says do your research, how do you do it? Well, watching this video right here is you doing a form of research on Arizona. By me doing the research and then sharing this information with you, I'm like an aggregate who shares information. I get information from all you guys and on the internet and from living here as long as I have. Same thing with why you would follow Island Hopper TV, because I'm like a travel guide, but I'm not a travel guide who holds your hand walking around the town. I take you to these places in a virtual setting, like Nicoya Peninsula, the tropical paradise, or Costa Rica Hidden Gem. I take you to these places, show you what it's like, a virtual tour, and then you go there and you have an idea because you did some research on the place. You don't just show up there willy-nilly, which could be cool because, when I show up there without knowing too much about a place, I'm like, it could either be a nightmare or it could be a great thing. But that's real adventure, right? So doing research is really important. So got to do the research. You got to do the research on, what the trajectory is, where we're headed in the next 5 to 10 years. Find out where the trends are. Go in there and get invested in the trends, whether it be the metaverse or NFTs or Bitcoin or Tesla or SpaceX or whatever you're able to invest in. And then, you got to take some risk because, there's gambling, there's investing, and then there's saving money in the bank, right? And so, which one are you doing? Are you gambling? Are you speculating? Or are you investing? I guess those are the main 3, right? You could hold the money in the bank, but the problem with that is with the way inflation has happened, and it's happened like this for the last 100 years. I mean, we had this conversation probably several times on this channel. What happens when I see you, Lulia, you're not kidding about that, huh? What happens when you bought a house in 1968 in Phoenix? How much was it? Like $15,000? Well, good luck trying to find a house at those prices nowadays. Why is that? Because of inflation. Now, why is there inflation baked into the system? Well, because we live in an inflationary fiat currency society. So that's why Warren Buffett says the only way to really grow your wealth is to invest. Whether you're investing in real estate, whether you're investing in stock market or some other alternative market. But people who are saving money long term, they're losing money year over year because inflation is devaluing their purchasing power. And I don't know why most people don't realize that. So you can actually utilize debt, credit, to invest in yourself to make money for yourself. So if you have great ideas, get good credit, take an investment out. Hopefully you don't fail, because if you fail, then that's terrible advice. I mean, but the only way you fail is if you give up. So, I mean, these are the things that I would tell people when they ask me. Christopher says, what country would you like to visit in Latin America that you haven't been to? Well, I was looking at Ecuador, and one of the reasons I was looking at Ecuador is because I want to go to the Galapagos. If you look right here, here's the Galapagos Islands. So there's the Galapagos. They're a part of Ecuador. Ecuador in and of itself, maybe Quito for a day or 2 days, Guayaquil, and this whole area right here, maybe those two. There's a couple other places in Ecuador that I thought, but mostly it was for the islands of the Galapagos. I've only been to the Panama airport, but obviously I'd like to go to Bocos del Toro, which is right here. I was actually in Puerto Viejo right here in Costa Rica, right on the border, and I was trying to negotiate with a taxi driver to take me to the border and then have him call a guy to pick me up and take me to Bocos del Toro, the archipelago right down here, because Bocos del Toro is awesome. And I was actually closer to Bocos del Toro in Costa Rica than I was when I was in Panama City. But you can see I was real close to the border here. But yeah, I do want to go back to there. And then, believe it or not, I've never been to Belize. And everyone says Belize is like the best country in Central America. So I've only been to Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica. Yeah. Is that the only? I've only been to 3. I thought. Well, okay. So Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, I've not been to, or I've been to Panama, but just the airport. So there's 4 I got to go to in Central America. And South America. You said Latin America or Central America? Yeah. Someone said, go see Juan Valdez. Bring us coffee. Okay. Debt builds wealth. Yeah, that's correct, because we live in a fiat currency system. So, I don't know if you guys know this about modern money mechanics, but we're not attached to the gold standard since 1972 at the Breckenridge Convention, which means that every time you take out a loan, that's why they're always trying to get you a loan, but it's not necessarily entirely bad. But when you take out a loan, that money comes from the central bank, newly minted cash, and then the bank issues it to you. And the way they make their money is on the interest they charge you, but you pay it back, but it goes back, it's into the circulation. So it's newly minted money that's debt. So debt is money. People don't know this. So they're always like, we got trillions of dollars in debt. It's like, yeah, that's because we just printed trillions of dollars in new money that's in the circulation. So Lindsay says you should make a TikTok if you haven't already. It's a great resource for building a larger community online. Yeah, we do have a TikTok. We have about 50,000 people on TikTok for living in Arizona. It's a totally different style of video because it's short. It's not like long. But yeah, TikTok's, I don't know. I mean, I did it. I have one. We have an Instagram too. It's got like 8,000 followers, but TikTok's easy to grow, but I don't have the time for it because number one is, it's not benefiting me in any way really. But I hear you. You're right. I mean, if I really want to dial in, thank you, Steven, for the $3 super chat. Do you think Arizona is going to turn like California in the next 5 years? No, I don't. When you say like California in the next 5 years, like what? I mean, the worst thing that happens in California right now is the homeless encampments that are all over Los Angeles. And the reason that happened is like, there's like multiple levels of why it happened. But number one reason is, if you're going to be homeless, you want to be homeless in the place that has the best weather. You don't want to be homeless in Chicago when it's Siberian type -7 degrees. You don't want to be in Minneapolis where it's wind chill factor of -50. You don't want to be in New York City when it rains and sleets. And you don't want to be in Phoenix when it's 114, but you do want to be in Los Angeles where they get mild weather pretty much year round. So everyone catches wind of this and they're like, yeah, go live in Los Angeles. And then the political people, the people in charge of the political office didn't do themselves any favor by like kind of cutting some slack to the people who moved out there. They were trying to be nice, but that didn't help anything because they basically gave safe haven to homeless people. So now when you go to Los Angeles, and I'm not trying to put down homeless people because, anyone could fall on hard times, and I get that. But the problem is, the whole city has basically got a bunch of people camping on the sidewalks, and you can't even walk there because it smells like pee, and it's dangerous, actually. It's actually dangerous. Like, go to Skid Row, and you will see. Lulia says, Phoenix apparently has a homeless issue, too. Yeah, it does, but nothing like you have in Los Angeles. No, it's maybe 1/4 in terms of, like, yeah, it's not anything like that. But then again, the homeless situation is actually pretty bad all across the country, mostly because of drugs. People got into drugs. Drugs have really wreaked havoc on society. And a lot of it is because, I don't want to get into a whole philosophical debate on why I think that people have become so intoxicated by drugs. But, it starts at a young age. I mean, what do they do to a kid when he has ADHD in a classroom? Hey, Mom, we need to get this kid on Ritalin or Adderall. Well, you're starting a kid out at 7 years old on dependency on some sort of thing that gives him a little kick or a little bit of a buzz. What do you think he's going to do when he's 16 or 17? It's like a gateway. So that, I'm not saying they did it on purpose, but if you really want to get down to it, I mean, how many kids do you know who were subscribed Ritalin or Adderall when you were a kid? How do I know? Because they tried to tell my mom to do it for me. Because, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. I said, you can't take a person who works with their hands who's mechanical and then tell him to be a scholastic academic, just like you can't take a scholastic academic and tell him to be mechanical. I mean, even when I was in the military, some of the highest ASVAB score guys were like some of the most goofy, like most dangerous guys with armament, guns and stuff. Like I remember like the guy who scored the 99 on the ASVAB, our gunner had to say, you need to get off the flight line here because you're dangerous. He dropped a bomb. I mean, and because he was fumbly, he was goofy. He was just like, but he was really book smart. But the guy who got like the low, 30s ASVAB score was like our best guy because he knew how to work with his hands. So our whole education system basically only caters to the person who's good with books, is academically good with books, scholastics. So punishing kids who are just more prone to be athletic or work with their hands by putting them on some sort of stimulant is actually not how you should be handling someone who's just mechanically inclined. So what they did was they put all these kids on Ritalin. By the time these kids are older, they're already addicted to stimulants, because that's what they've been known all their life as the solution, is taking a pill or doing something. So that's just my opinion. No, I don't think the country has too many people. I was listening to something that Elon Musk, I don't know if you guys know who he is, or you probably do, but I don't know if you know much about him, but there was a really interesting interview that he had on Wall Street Journal. He did it on like the 6th. He's absolutely convinced that the world does not have enough people. The world does not have enough people. And he's saying that if we don't solve that problem, so there's these people who think the world has too many people. Elon Musk thinks that we have not enough people, which I would say would probably tell you that he's not one of those people who's trying to do away with humanity. So, there was that. So what do you guys think? All right, 158 people hit the likes. Do you guys want me to keep going? If you do, let's see if we can get to 175 likes. We got 176 people liking or watching. Already had 159. If you guys want me to keep going, get it up on the likes, and I'll keep going, and we can keep answering questions. Do you think Prescott will become a full-fledged metro area, say 50 years from now? Yes, I do. There's probably Prescott is next in line. I don't really see it being Flagstaff, although Flagstaff is growing. Flagstaff's had a lot of growth, but I see Prescott has already started laying the infrastructure. They're upgrading their airport between Chino Valley, Prescott Valley. It's like the Tri-City area. They've got a lot of area to grow, and it's all basically really flat land, and it's not too complicated, but they also have the 89, the 89A. They were building more freeways around here. So I would say, yes, Prescott probably will pass Yuma, probably will pass Flagstaff. All it's going to take is a couple developers and this channel to kind of put it on them. No, I'm just kidding. But a big buzz about Prescott. I think what happens also is people move to Phoenix. They can't stand the heat. They don't want to leave Arizona, so they start looking for a cooler place. They start moving north, and then they end up in like Pine Top Lakeside. They end up in Prescott, and they end up in Flagstaff. And then those kind of areas just kind of keep growing because of that. Because most people don't move straight from out of state to Prescott, well, unless they're from California. But they don't they usually kind of like work their way north after living in Phoenix. Cottonwood, that's probably number 4 on the list. I mean, the Cottonwood Verde Valley area is primed. This is a primed area for growth. It booms and then it busts. It'll hit a hot spot. It'll start growing real fast, and then it just stalls out because of the economy. I mean, you catch a hot. I mean, Cottonwood, the Cottonwood Verde Valley area from Clarkdale, Cottonwood, Verde Village. I mean, it's close to Sedona. They got Cornville over here. I mean, this whole area could really be like, it could be like what you have in Denver and Boulder. You know, you got Prescott and Cottonwood. Like kind of like what you have in Colorado Springs to Denver or something like that. How much more is Queen Creek going to grow? Is booming down there big time? Yeah, Queen Creek is definitely booming. Queen Creek at some point in time is going to swallow up Santan Valley. It's just going to do it. Santan Valley is probably going to get annexed into Queen Creek. And people in Santan Valley don't want to hear that, so don't say that to someone in Santan Valley because they might punch you. But the reason it hasn't already happened is because Santan Valley is basically Pinal County, and Queen Creek's in Maricopa County. So there's like this county line, and basically Santan Valley is Queen Creek, but it's the Pinal County side. You get it? Mill says, thinking about moving to either Maricopa or Casa Grande. Will be working in Tempe. Just how bad is that drive? Okay, well, let's review that drive. I mean, I-10 is going to basically be your corridor. I mean, okay, so you got two ways to get in there. You got Maricopa, okay? So you could roll up Casa Grande into Maricopa and go up 347. The problem with that is if there's ever an accident on 347, that's clogged to hell. So you probably don't want to do that. So more often than not, you're going to do the I-10. And that's 75, 80 miles an hour. I mean, that's how fast people are going. So, you know, you're gonna cruise down this little surface street here. You could either do 387 or 287. Probably 287, get on the freeway and buzz. Maybe 45 minutes. And then once you get into Phoenix, you hit even more of a powerful vibe. It's probably about 35, 40 minutes. Not too bad. Not too bad. Because you're close to the I-10. Yeah. Someone says, just keep rambling. It's the best. Okay, Kimmy. There's not any undeveloped areas 30 minutes away from town are the best places to go. Check out Skull Valley, Wilhoit. Whoa, Skull Valley. I don't even know what area that's at. Can't wait to move there from Detroit, Michigan to Chandler in September. How come there is no city in Arizona side across St. George? Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I was looking at that north side of the Grand Canyon the other day, actually, because I was thinking about, okay, let's talk about that. So basically, it's a road situation, probably, but it's also a national park. There's also a national forest there, but this is the area he's talking about. How come there's no one living here? Because you have St. George up here, but how come no one's in the Arizona side? And you have Highway 15, but there's no real roads getting out here. And 89A basically goes into Fredonia, and then it just kind of leaves Arizona through Colorado City or Kanab. But it's cold up there, and then it's hot. I don't really know why no one lives up there. I mean, it's hard to get here from most parts of Arizona. It's hard to get to the North Rim because you got to go through the reservation. Then you got to wrap around here, okay, on 89A. And then 89A doesn't have a road that really goes in here. It's like all off-road. So, and I don't think there was a big demand for it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they want to just preserve that land and kind of reserve it off. It's kind of like, you know, it's North Rim of the Grand Canyon. It's beautiful up there, but also water issues were a problem. I mean, St. George still deals with water issues. A lot of people know that. That's common information about St. George and the problem they have with water. Mesquite is good outside St. George. You talking about mesquite trees, like the actual mesquite trees, or a town called Mesquite? Because I don't know of a town called Mesquite, but I know of the mesquite tree. William says, Jeff, thanks for all the information. We'll keep putting it out there, and I'll keep talking. Kingman is up and coming. I knew Kingman was coming. See, I told you someone was going to mention Kingman. We went from Yuma to Kingman. People love Kingman, except for me. You won't find me out. Oh, Mesquite, Nevada. I was going to say, I don't know of a Mesquite, Utah. I know of Mesquite, Nevada, yeah. Right here. the Arizona side of the Colorado in regards to this, where we have our first big town, would be Bullhead City. Other side being Laughlin, Nevada. We've talked about this before. They got Lake Mojave right there. This is south of Lake Mead, but it's all part of the CAP, the Central Arizona Project, along the Colorado River. But Bullhead City is basically the biggest city up in northeastern Arizona. I think the county is what? Cochise County? I can't even remember. What's the county out where Bullhead City is? Mojave County. Yeah, Mojave. What small towns are booming in Arizona that are closer to big cities? Well, we talked about it. Prescott, Cottonwood, the Verde Valley, this whole area right here. Here's Phoenix, here's Prescott, Prescott Valley, Chino Valley, Cottonwood, Camp Verde, this whole area right here. I wouldn't say they're booming, but you could say that they're up and coming, and they've been up and coming like Payson. But then you start to head out to a place up here called Show Low. Show Low gets its name because show me 8, I'll show you low. No, I'm just kidding. It is actually because of a poker game. Mojave County. Someone said, let's go, Brandon. What did Brandon say? Just kidding. Cottonwood is by Sedona, right? Cottonwood is by Sedona, yeah. You could say, so let's see here. You got Sedona, here's Cottonwood. And again, 89A. Not a lot of jobs unless you want to work retail. Where? In Sedona? Sedona, yeah. People go to Sedona to retire. They don't go there to make their wealth. You're not going to find, outside of working at like one of the hotels, valet, maybe making money, or working at the golf course as a superintendent, you're not going to make money in Sedona. Unless you're maybe working for some like billionaire who has like a 16th house over there and you watch their house. Not a lot of jobs. Oh, wait, what's someone saying? Thanks. I will be there this Tuesday. Where's a good place to live near Squatches? What is Squatches? I don't know. My aunt moved to... Okay. Do you think this growth is sustainable in the state? Yeah, it's sustainable, Noel. Yeah, it's sustainable for multiple reasons, but I would like to see places like Prescott finally get its growth that it should have. I'd like to see one of the towns up here, probably Show Low, get some growth. I don't really want to see Pine Top, Lakeside, or Greer grow too much, but there are some areas that can handle the growth, and it would give good variety for the infrastructure in Arizona, spread it out a little bit. Not everyone has to live in Phoenix Metro or Tucson. Phoenix is already getting clogged up. Even in the southern part of the state, Sierra Vista could handle the growth. This is an area that's underrated, Sierra Vista. But, it's a military town. In the future, I would probably live down in the Grand Canyon. Yeah, good luck getting down there, bud. Sasquatch. Someone says Sasquatch. If you guys want me to keep going, get it to 200 likes. We're at 180. 180. I need it to get to 200, and I'll keep going. Someone said Sasquatch. There is no Sasquatch. We have this guy called the Mongolian Monster. Or Mogollon Monster, sorry. Mogollon Monster. Let's see here. So this is an old, this is supposedly the epitome of the Sasquatch. There's a couple stories that you can read on here. Reported sightings range along Arizona's Mogollon Rim from Prescott to Williams, southeast Alpine, south to Clifton, and northwest to Prescott. So the oldest known reported sighting was in 1903, the Arizona Republican, in which I.W. Stevens described a creature near the Grand Canyon as having long white hair and matted beard that reached to his knees. It wore no clothing, and upon his talon-like fingers were claws at least 2 inches long. Upon further inspection, he noted a coat of gray hair nearly covered his body with here and there spot, dirty skin showing. He later stated that after he discovered the creature drinking blood of 2 cougars. It threatened him with a club and screamed the wildest, most unearthly screech. So I don't know if this guy's a storyteller or if he's telling the truth. But then there was a cryptozoologist, Don Davis, reported that during the mid-1940s, he was on a Boy Scout trip near Payson and gave the following account. The creature was huge. Its eyes were deep set and hard to see, but they seemed expressionless. His face seemed pretty much devoid of hair, but there seemed to be hair along the sides of his face. His chest, shoulders, and arms were massive, especially the upper arms, easily upwards of 6 inches in diameter, perhaps much more. I could see he was pretty hairy, but didn't observe really how thick the body hair was, the face hair. So, and then there was another Arizona resident who claimed she described as a black, tall, and walking in strides. A number of people on the Fort Apache Indian Reservation also have said they saw the creature. I also heard another story where supposedly it was eating wolves. It was eating wolves. So, but I mean, so it said a hairy Tyson Fury. That's funny. Let's see. Heavily looking into Phoenix metro area. My main goal is to buy real estate, mid-sized apartments. Looking at 250K to 500K range, general areas I'd be looking. If you're trying to move to Arizona and you're looking for that, okay. Let's see. You could probably look in Chandler. Wow, why is this thing moving so fast? Chandler. You could probably check out Peoria. Arrowhead and Peoria. And you could also check out Desert Ridge. And one more area that I would say, take a look at Norterra up in Happy Valley. This is Norterra right here. So you got Norterra. A lot of it's North Phoenix that I just gave you. But the other side is Southeast Phoenix, Gilbert. And did you see the UFO in 1997? You're referring to the Phoenix lights that were over South Mountain. I think that was pretty much already revealed that was actually a government, like a Area 51 kind of deal, classified, because they have I think they closed it around the same year, the Barry Goldwater. I don't know if those were UFOs, but here recently they had the Starlink. SpaceX was launching a link of satellites. They call it Starlink because it's like a link of satellites headed up to the stars to become a star in the Earth's atmosphere or some stratosphere or whatever level they're going. There's 5 of them. I don't even know. But that was seen over the sky, and everyone in Phoenix was tweeting out, what were those lights over Phoenix? This was recently, and everyone's like, are the Phoenix lights back? And then it was revealed that it was SpaceX launching from Los Angeles or from California. So the Phoenix lights of 1997, I don't know about that. But then there was a movie that was made about a guy who was up here in Heber, and he was supposedly abducted by aliens up on the Mogollon Rim. Was it Heber? Overguard? Is New Mexico pretty much like Arizona? Yeah, I mean, if there was any state that I would say is very similar to Arizona, it would probably be New Mexico, Nevada. But more New Mexico. New Mexico is very similar to Arizona. Very similar. Yeah, Fire in the Sky is the movie if you guys want to see it in regards to the guy who was supposedly abducted. Yeah, movie Fire in the Sky. But there was another movie made about people from Arizona. I think it was called The Hot Shots. There was it's not related to alien activity, but it was about these firemen who were fighting a fire out here in what was it? Yarnell. I think they're called like the Yarnell 12 or something, but it's called Yarnell Fire Hill. These are the guys, they're called the Hot Shots. They made a movie, if you guys are into Arizona and you want to see a movie about something that happened in Arizona. All these guys were fighting a fire up on a hill, and it was in Yarnell here, and what ended up happening was the winds took the fire in the direction of the men, and they got surrounded by the fire, and it took them all. And so that one is called Hot Shots, I think. Someone help me with the name. But between those two movies, if you're looking for something to do, There you go. Larry says New Mexico's okay, but it really gets cold there. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about New Mexico a little bit in comparison to Arizona. So we actually made a video about Silver City on this channel, which is where I think Billy the Kid. That's another movie if you guys want to watch another cool movie. Young Guns 2. Yeah, Young Guns 1 and Young Guns 2. But that's a lot about, like, it's kind of like Tombstone. That's another movie about Arizona. But Young Guns it's about Billy Bonney. It's actually, I used to love that movie when I was a kid. So I was just really big into like that Western. I think Emilio Estevez played Billy Bonney, which is Billy the Kid. But Silver City was like where Billy the Kid was hanging out. I think he died at like 21 or something. He got into it with, who was the guy he got into it with? The old, the law enforcement officer. He was supposedly buddies with him. That wasn't Doc Holliday. It was someone help me out here. Will says he loves Young Guns. Yeah. So what was the law enforcement officer he had a falling out with? Dang it. Anyway, we could talk about some more about Pat Garrett. Yeah, Pat Garrett was his name. So yeah, when you watch it, you'll see how that whole relationship with Billy Bonney and Pat Garrett kind of is close to a real story, but obviously it's fictional because no one really knows too much about Billy Bonney. But if you wanted to learn more about like the Western Museum, and probably the best cowboy museum for gunslingers is down in Tombstone. I mean, you go down to this museum. I went to it. I was actually impressed. So they got the OK Corral right here, but you go down here, they got this, I think it's right here, Gunfighter Hall of Fame. And they got everybody in there. Everybody. I'm talking everything from Sioux City. There's Billy the Kid right there. But they got all these guys, like they got the locals. They talk about this guy was scalped by the Native Americans. They got Buffalo Bill Cody. I mean, they talk about them all down there. And this museum, if you're really wanting, it's worth the 30, 45 minutes you're going to spend in there, because you're going to walk away from there being like, dang, how the West was won. It was a real beast down here out there. I mean, but that's what Tombstone will do for you. It's good history. I mean, they do a little bit of, Hollywood junk, but Tombstone's decent. What part of Arizona has the best bike path trails? Probably Scottsdale, to be honest with you. But all across the state, you can get great biking. I would say the area, I mean, I could say I've personally seen Scottsdale has some, like up by this area. This is just one I would say off the cuff. Right here around True North. So if you go out here, they have a bunch of trails. So you got True North right here. So they got the Browns Ranch Trailhead. This one's got a good, people like this one. It's horse trails, but people also ride their bikes up there. And they got a bunch of different trails. They got Cone Mountain. I mean, you can go all around this area. Also, so like Scottsdale, North Phoenix. Show Low had 18 degrees of rain, or 18 inches of rain, summer monsoon storms, thankful for a wet summer. Yeah, Show Low, I like Show Low, man. I do like Show Low. So when it comes to comparing New Mexico, because you guys keep talking about New Mexico in comparison to Arizona. So Las Cruces, I'm saying no deal down here. I don't really want to be in Las Cruces or White Sands or anything like that. And I'm not a big fan of El Paso. I don't see why anyone would live in El Paso. I guess it's close to Ciudad Juarez, and if you love Ciudad Juarez, then move to El Paso. I don't even know why they gave El Paso to Texas, because technically El Paso should be New Mexico, if you ask me. By all standards, El Paso should be New Mexico. I don't even know why Texas has it. Texas already has enough. And as a matter of fact, there ain't nothing in between El Paso and San Antonio. I mean, they got a couple small towns, okay? But if you're going to live in New Mexico, like, I would say El Paso is like the biggest city. And if you include the whole border, they call it the border complex or whatever. It's called a borderplex. with Ciudad Juarez and El Paso, I mean, this whole metro area is like 3 to 4 million people. It's huge. But Las Cruces is lumped in there. But like I said, I mean, I didn't see there's anything worthwhile in Las Cruces. So southern New Mexico is not so hot, not so good. But where it gets good is up here along the Rio Grande. Albuquerque's got some real beautiful areas up here by the Cibola National Forest. You know, this whole little area right here is nice. But most people don't actually even like Albuquerque. And Albuquerque it's like a sister city with Tucson. I consider Albuquerque and Tucson siblings. They're very similar cities, as in they have the big mountain right here with Sandia Crest and the Cibola, which is very similar to what you get on the Mount Lemmon and the Santa Catalinas. So Albuquerque or Tucson, I would live in Tucson over Albuquerque, but you know, and the reason we're doing this comparison is because you guys are asking. And yes, I have been to all over New Mexico. And if you want to see the videos here, you can go on to Island Hopper TV. I got Santa Fe. Let's see. I'm just saying, if you guys wanted to see what my interpretation of, here's Santa Fe, New Mexico right here. So I mean, it's a nice place, but you know, let's go back to the map. I'm just saying, if you were looking for information on it, I got it there. I also have a video on Albuquerque. You just go to the search on Island Hopper. And I just walk around with a camera for like 20 minutes and show you around the downtown area. So the sister city for Santa Fe is Sedona. I would say Sedona is on par with Santa Fe. And as a matter of fact, the locals, when I was there, they were telling me that actually there was the indigenous people, the Native Americans at the time, were hunter and gatherers, or they would migrate back and forth depending on the season in between Santa Fe, the Four Corners area, which is Canyon de Chelly, and then they would go down to Sedona and back and forth. So that was like their route. They would go Santa Fe, Canyon de Chelly, and then Sedona. And Canyon de Chelly is up there by the Navajo Nation. And so if you wanted a really beautiful place, but it's hard to get through this place, but Canyon de Chelly is incredible. Let me see if I can dial in Canyon de Chelly for you. Oh man, where is Canyon de Chelly on here? Is it right here? Why am I having a hard time finding Canyon de Chelly? It's pronounced like Canyon de Chelly. Ah man, hold on. I've okay. I was a little too far north. This area right here, and like I said, you can't really get in there, but they've got like these pueblos in here. It's like Arizona's Machu Picchu, if you want to call it that, or like Mesa Verde. Cliff dwellings, but you can't really get in there because it's Navajo Nation, and it's like locked off. Hey, thanks Adam for the thanks for the super chat. Price is still going up. Will it stop, and is even worth at this point? I'm personally waiting to buy. We'll see. I'm waiting for the market to either show signs of stability or slide down. I mean, if it goes down as a buyer, that's good. As a seller, that's not good. But anyway, Gail Santa Fe is very expensive. I've been looking there too. Yeah, I mean, between Santa Fe and Sedona, very similar. Sedona is more beautiful than Santa Fe in terms of rock formations and stuff. What people like about Santa Fe, number one, it's the oldest capital city in the country. So Santa Fe, which translates directly to holy faith. So Fe is faith. Santa, holy, because Santa, San, you know, anytime it's called San or Santa Barbara is holy. It's Holy Barbara, it's like the priest, right? So Santa Fe, which translates to holy faith, founded in around the 1500s by the Spanish. And it's the oldest, you know, a lot of people think it's Boston, but it's Santa Fe. Anyway, so there's a great deal of history in the area. But if you go down to the streets, you know, right here, like St. Francis of Assisi. Again, we mentioned that name, but this is like the downtown city center of Santa Fe. Even in Arizona, they'll have homes called Santa Fe style. So a Santa Fe style home is a home that has wood that pops out the side of it with this like adobe stucco finish. It's kind of like this, more like this. So the wood pops out. That's considered Santa Fe style. And so when you hear someone talking about a Santa Fe style home, that's what they're referring to, is this adobe terracotta color with the wood, because that's how they built the homes. The Spaniards did when they were settling what is now modern day New Mexico, but before it was a part of Mexico, old Mexico. What's going on, B-boy? Larry says Navajo Nation is the largest native ethnic group in the USA outside Cherokees last year. Adobes are supposed to help with the heat. Yeah, adobes are like, so adobes are a brick that was used before brick, like hard brick. So it's a mud brick, and they made it out of like a cactus yucca. I don't know exactly what the cactus was, but it had like a glue bondage to it that made the mud stick together a little bit better, and they would put hay in there. And so between the hay and the mud, they would just stack these bricks, and that's what adobes were. And then what they did after that was, instead of having the exterior be just like the color of adobe, they would take another form of mud, which is stucco, and they would basically put it over the brick, the adobe brick. People are asking, why are we talking about New Mexico? Well, people were saying, is Arizona like New Mexico, and is New Mexico going to be the new Arizona? And so we were talking about comparing it. So overall, if you ask me for a comparison, I would say New Mexico is light years behind in a lot. It's light years behind Arizona, but it does, like, so if you look at the two best places there, Santa Fe and Albuquerque's like Tucson, so they don't have a city like Phoenix even close. So if you're looking for jobs or career or infrastructure, Phoenix is way ahead of anything they have in New Mexico, including Albuquerque. It's more closer to smaller Tucson. And Santa Fe's not quite as beautiful as Sedona, and they have a couple other small towns. Maybe in 10 years, 20 years, it picks up a little bit, but it's still way behind Arizona. What about Los Alamos? People are asking why we're talking about it, but they're still asking about Mexico, or New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico has got some beautiful areas, but it's not anything like Arizona. Hard to maintain, pain in the butt after it rains. Yeah, so you're talking about adobe. If you don't put stucco over the adobe mud, eventually hard rain will erode that mud, and it's not like brick. I mean, heck, I've seen hard rain and wind sandblast stucco on these Trek homes they build. Yeah, you guys are asking where I was. I was filming for Island Hopper TV down in Latin America. That's where I was. So if you guys want to see those videos, go over to Island Hopper TV. I pinned it to the top. The link is right there at the top of the chat here. You can just click on it and subscribe to Island Hopper TV and watch the videos if you wanted to travel to Latin America. I think that if you're going to live in Arizona, you should at some point consider going down to Mexico at the very least, if not all of Latin America, so you have an understanding about, number one, the history, because at the end of the day, before Arizona was called Arizona or the territory of Arizona, it was Old Mexico. So, for like 300 years, it was Old Mexico. And then they had the Gadsden Purchase, which is down here in the southern part. But, the Sonora, Mexico. In fact, where Arizona gets its name, like the most common story about how Arizona gets its name is Arizonac, which was supposedly a indigenous word for spring. And Arizonac the word comes from a spring out here in northern Mexico, in Sonora, Mexico, the state of Sonora. Remember, we have the Sonoran Desert. Well, Sonora, Mexico is, it's like our closest place. In fact, our Arizona's beach is in Mexico, in Sonora, in Puerto Penasco. Arizona is basically coming down to this area in Puerto Penasco, buying up all these beachfront properties. You'll see all these resorts down in Puerto Penasco, also known as Rocky Point. Like here's Las Palomas. You want to know why this place is being built? Because all those Arizona people, they come down here to Arizona, and someone was saying that, man, why didn't Arizona just buy this little sliver of beach off of Mexico? Well, because they're building the border wall. If they build the border wall, they won't be able to buy it, because then there'll be a big wall in the way. No, but how much would it cost to buy that, right? I mean, I don't even think you could do it. But anyway, this is considered Arizona's beach. You know, it's beautiful down here, but it's all desert. It's hot. The water's warm. There you go. Well, Christopher says the name for Arizona. So depending on who you ask, let's see the name origin. Let's see what the story let's just take a look here. So the name Arizona, let's take a look at the history. For thousands of years before the modern era, Arizona was home to many ancient Native American civilizations: Hohokam, Mogollon, Ancestral, Puebloan. In 1539, Marcos de Niza, a Spanish Franciscan, became the first European to contact Native Americans. So this was all part of New Spain. Father Kino, so when you go down to Tucson, you'll see Father Kino, who was a padre, part of the De Anza Trail. And it's also next to Alta California, which was Mexico as well, which is now modern-day California. You could see the Gadsden Purchase, which is this part right here. This happened in 1854, but it was part of the Arizona Territory after it was purchased. Arizona didn't even become a state until 1912. So let's see where the name comes from here. There was there's got to be something on here about the name. But you could see Mexican States of Sonora. I was told it had something to do with a Native American word, Arizonac, which meant spring. Let's see here. But now that we're dialing it in, we better get that information. All right. The state's name appears to originate from an earlier Spanish name, Arizonac, derived from the O'odham Alisonac, meaning small spring. And this is coming straight off, okay. So the name Arizona derives from the Spanish translation, because you know how the Spanish took like Guadalajara or Guanajuato, which was a native indigenous word, and then kind of Spanishized it. But Spanish name Arizonac derived from the O'odham. The Tohono O'odham people are the native indigenous people of this region. So if you go down here, you'll see the Tohono O'odham nation reservation right here on the border. And they kind of come all the way down into Sonora. So that's basically so the state's name appears to originate from the Spanish name Arizonac, derived from the O'odham name Alisonac, meaning small spring. Initially, the term was applied by Spanish colonialists only to an area near the silver mining camp of Planchas del Plata in Sonora. So Planchas del Plata, let's see where it is on the map. So that's what I was trying to say, is like the name Arizona actually originated in from a spring in Sonora, Mexico. right here. So that's why when I say that it's good to go down into Mexico, oh, look, La Arizona right here. It helps you to understand more of the history about Arizona because we are, in a way, part of Old Mexico. There's a lot of history related to Old Mexico. And someone just mentioned Tubac, like right here, for example. Right there near the border, you have the Tumacacori National Historic Monument. This mission was part of the De Anza Trail. This is Tumacacori. There's adobe right there. For those of you who are wondering what adobe is, you can see the adobe, and then on the front of it is like a plaster or a stucco. Sonora is like Arizona's little brother, says Jeff S. I don't know about that. Sonora. Oh man, yeah. I mean, Sonora. Oh man, there's not too much out there in Sonora. There's like Hermosillo. Let's see, Hermosillo. It's hot down there. I mean, you know, this whole area gets real hot. It really does. Hermosillo is basically the big one. I'd like to explore some of these islands, like Isla Tiburon. For those of you who don't know what Tiburon is in Spanish, it's shark. So basically they're calling it Shark Island. But I was flying over this the other day, coming into back in the United States through Tijuana. I was coming in from Guadalajara, and the route went right over Sinaloa. You know, you could see Mazatlan. You could see that whole area. Guaymas. This is a cool place. This is like #2 beach for Arizonans. It's called Guaymas. So they have this like mountain down here. It's right there on the beach by Isla Tiburon in a way. But this right here, Guaymas. Let's see if I can get you the... there's like a little mountain that's really popular. It's San Carlos. So the San Carlos Nueva Guaymas, this mountain right here, it's really nice, right? It looks good. Someone said they'd like to see me travel through Sonora. So the northern part of Mexico is more difficult to travel than the southern part. Like this area, like right here, is considered much more safe than like Sonora. Like Baja Norte, Sonora, Chihuahua, Nuevo Leon, not the safest places to drive through, at least from what I've heard, even from locals. But for me, I have no problem going in deep into Mexico, like, you know, Oaxaca, Guerrero, Michoacan, even though they say Acapulco is like the most dangerous city in the world. And I didn't go to Acapulco. I went to Zihuatanejo. There's like a level 4 travel advisory for Zihuatanejo, and I thought it was safe. I thought it was actually safe. I got a video coming in about a week or two. They got another place down here called Ixtapa. You know, United States issued a level 4 travel advisory. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, Acapulco is where I really want to go. I thought about La Paz. You can ferry over to Mazatlan. Yeah, I actually need to do that ferry, and I was going to do that ferry. I was going to go Puerto Vallarta and then work my way up into Mazatlan and then take this ferry into La Paz right here. I love La Paz, man. La Paz is my jam. You could swim with whale sharks right here. I'd rather travel dangerous Mexican cities than many American cities, says Jeff S. Yeah, I mean, Los Angeles is probably the most dangerous city I've been in a long time. Like, I would say Los Angeles is about as dangerous as Rio de Janeiro. I mean, I didn't really notice too many. The thing that's dangerous about Mexico is they have all these checkpoints, and all it takes is one of these police officers to check your car and, you know, try to do a bribe with you to ruin your experience. Where they're like, oh, you can't have this prescription down here. Do not go down to Mexico with your medical marijuana stuff. Do not even try it. Because when you hit a checkpoint, that stuff's not going to fly. There's people out there that go from Arizona, from Phoenix, with their little medical marijuana stuff, and they get hit up at the checkpoint over here in Sonoita, Lukeville, right here at the border crossing. And that ain't going to end up very well for you. So do not do that. You do not have a prescription for medical marijuana in Mexico. Don't even try it. Mark says, Ixtapa is awesome. Stayed there for a week and loved it. Yeah, I didn't go to Ixtapa. I was so close. And I only stayed in La Ropa and Zihuatanejo. And man, Zihuatanejo is awesome. And then we went down to Puerto Escondido right here in Oaxaca. And I wanted to explore more of Oaxaca, but I had travel fatigue because I had been traveling for 2 months. Where I went in Guatemala that was just spectacular. And I don't know if you guys know this place, but it's called Lago Atitlan. Right here in Lago Atitlan, Lake Atitlan, is where you really come across real, authentic, indigenous Mayan people. And they have a bunch of villages all around this area, and they're friendly. Well, you know, let's put it like this. The high crime that you see in these countries is not because of the indigenous people. And it's definitely not because of the Mayans, okay? I mean, I interacted with plenty of Mayans. They are not the ones causing the problems. So if you thought that, don't think that, because that would be absolutely untrue. In fact, I think the Mayan people are very peaceful, friendly, kind, and gracious. And I could say that based on personal experience. Anywhere in the valley has 2 seasons, mild winters and very hot summers. Anywhere in the valley that has mild winters and very hot summers, yeah, that's true. Someone said that San Francisco is nowhere dangerous compared to Oakland or LA. Yeah, Oakland's dangerous, man. Oakland is straight up dangerous. Oakland, Los Angeles, dangerous. I mean, the only other place, I mean, I went to Colombia, which is considered a dangerous place. As you guys know, Medellin. I'll show you if you guys want to watch our Medellin and Bogota. So I went to Bogota, Medellin, and Cartagena. You can see I got a couple videos. I got 6 videos from Colombia. Colombia is supposedly a dangerous place. Medellin, however you want to say it, it used to be like the most dangerous place because of Pablo Escobar. And I was there for 3 days. I went to some of the more dangerous places. I would say if you go down to Colombia, hire a tour guide. If you're one of those people who's worried, like any place you go, if it's a place where you're kind of iffy about it, just hire a tour guide. Pay the $35 for the tour for the day and get the safety of a local expert. If you go down to Medellin and you're trying to walk around all by yourself all day, first time in Medellin, or, you know, I did that in Bogota. I don't know if I'd do it again because from what I heard about Bogota, I don't know. I walked around Cartagena same way, kind of solo, but I learned a lot just by hiring a travel guide. I mean, Medellin, yeah, it rains a lot. I mean, it rained like basically every day. It's a very beautiful place, Medellin. I mean, it's definitely Colombia's finest city. But they say it's dangerous. I mean, but it was not as dangerous as what I've seen in Rio de Janeiro. And when I compare Los Angeles to Rio de Janeiro, Rio is dangerous, man. You will feel like you are on the edge of your seat in Rio de Janeiro. Mostly because the locals there will always be warning you, be careful. And I heard that Sao Paulo is even more dangerous. The interesting thing about that, the biggest city in the entire Americas, does anyone want to take a guess what the biggest city in all of the Americas is, including North America, Central America, and South America? Does anyone want to take a guess? I will give you guys a minute to try and answer. Dun, 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 dun. Jeff S. says Sao Paulo. Toyota says Mexico City. M. Bush says Mexico City. Furthest north I have been is London. That has nothing to do with the Americas, but okay. Mexico City. Citizen said, I don't know, New York. Kimmy says Mexico City. Christopher says Mexico City, Sao Paulo, Rio, or Mexico City. El Centro is huge agricultural center. We get hay from there. Okay. Ethel gets hay from El Centro. New York. Um, okay, so are we, is anyone else going to throw a name in there? I mean, we got like 10 more seconds. Throw it in there. All right. Anyway, I'll tell you, it's Sao Paulo. It's bigger than the biggest city in North America in the northern hemisphere is Mexico City. So Mexico City is the second biggest in the Americas. Sao Paulo is the largest city in the Americas. That's saying something. That's saying something. So there you go. I thought for the longest time I was always told Mexico City was the biggest city on earth. So I'm like flying into Mexico City and I'm like, the first time I went there like 5 years ago, I was like, man, the largest city on earth. And then someone's like, no, it's Tokyo. And I'm like, oh, is it Tokyo now? Because I thought it was Mexico City. But it turns out it's not even really Tokyo. It's some city in China, like called like Chongqing or something like that. But then there's like this disparity between what's like a metro city and what's like another term of population. So Shanghai, then someone said Shanghai is the biggest city in the world, but from what I've actually heard, the consensus seems to be it's Tokyo, the largest. But the largest in the Americas is Sao Paulo. And Sao Paulo must have grown really quick. Because Mexico City, when I was growing up, was the biggest one. Rio has the best looking people I've seen. Just watch YouTube videos of Leblon in an area. Yeah. Rio. Rio's not actually a big city. I think only like 7 million people live in Rio. It's Chongqing. That's right, Will. But this is Rio. It's not that big. It's not that big. But the area he's talking about is by Barrio Tijuca. This is kind of where all the when they had the Rio Olympics, everyone was kind of staying down here. But Leblon is actually right here. So you have Ipanema and then you have Leblon. And so this is like the main area that people go. But the locals will tell you Barra Tijuca is the best. And then you have, obviously, Copacabana right here. Probably the most scenic area to go is Pal de Acur, or Sucre, which is Sugarloaf Mountain. Yeah, Rio is beautiful. I mean, Rio is one of the most beautiful places, I tell you. But it's dangerous, man. Even when you're in Copacabana, you think you're going down to the... You walk around this area, you'll have like local taxi drivers letting you out of the car. They'll be like, hey, watch out down here. I'm telling you, watch out. And you'll be like, oh, geez, okay. But Copacabana, I hung out down here, just walked around on the beach. You know, they got action. I mean, they got volleyball going, soccer going on the beach. Everyone's in a Speedo or a bikini. I mean, that's Brazil for you, huh? Phoenix became a nightmare giant metropolis like LA, and we didn't want. Phoenix is got to figure out what they're going to do about transportation. That's what I'll say. But they keep building these Loop 101. There's a song called "The Girl from Ipanema." Yeah, that's the one. Someone said just stay on the beach. I don't know if you just stay on the beach. I mean, the thing I was thinking was, if it's so dangerous, why don't they have more police officers on the street? It's like, what the heck? Well, I definitely want to go back down to Brazil. I mean, I'm looking to go to Brazil for sure, back down there. But Rio is like the most dangerous place in Brazil, along with Sao Paulo. So I'm not in too big of a hurry. But once you get outside of Rio and all that, then there's like, it's a lot safer. You know, like if you go to Salvador or Fortaleza, some of those other places, then Brazil starts to get a little bit better. And I talk to Brazilian tourists all the time because Brazilian tourists travel a lot. They're like the Dutch or the Germans that travel all the time, and the French, because Americans don't travel out of the country. Like here I am in Central America, right? In Mexico, the Canadians travel more than Americans. And I think it's because the media scares the living daylights out of Americans to where they just want to keep them in America and not let them travel. So you're traveling, you got Dutch tourists, Dutch backpackers, German backpackers, French backpackers, Canadians, Aussies, well, not Aussies this time. And you're like, is there any Americans around here anywhere? And you think to yourself, why is that? And it's because the American media scares the crap out of y'all. So y'all are scared to leave your country. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Europeans have a monopoly on it too, where they try to, you know, keep Americans out or something. I don't know what's going on. Are there any beach towns in Arizona? Well, I mean, a beach town in Arizona, by definition, the closest thing to that would be Lake Havasu City. Well, actually, probably, if you really wanted a nice beach town, anywhere between Parker and Lake Havasu City. I would say check out this Buckskin Mountain State Park right here. It's right there on the water. I mean, that's a beach, but it's on a river. You got this Sandbar Resort area right here. Fox's Floating Bar, you know. It's kind of like Panama City, Florida style. That's what it reminds me of, Florida a little bit, you know. But I would say that Arizona's beach still, and I'll say it again and time and again, is Puerto Penasco right here. This whole area right here. $46 a night to stay at this hotel. That's why gringos go down there. $46 a night, right on the beach. And that ocean water ain't like the Pacific. It's warm. Now, don't y'all just start running down to Rocky Point right now, because it's kind of cold right there. But spring break is when everyone goes down to, anyone who knows anything about Arizona goes down to Puerto Penasco for spring break. Spring break in Puerto Penasco, Rocky Point is, at least in the 90s, I could say for a fact, it was the spot to be. Someone said something about Bolivia. You should have came to Bolivia. It's pretty safe. I wanted to go to Bolivia, but Bolivia has some of the strictest immigration. Their president is like, he definitely looks out for the indigenous people, but he also like makes it extremely, it's like they're not very business friendly for foreign investors. They're not also very friendly for travel. But I'd love to go there to like La Paz or yeah, I mean, because yeah, of course I wanted to go there. I was over in, I was in Peru, I was in Lima, and I started looking at Lake Titicaca, because this is Lake Titicaca right here. I'm not making up the name. It's literally called Lake Titicaca. Anyways, I was down by Lake Titicaca, or I was wanting to go there after Cusco, and I was like, where's next? Oh, I'll just go to La Paz. It's close to Lake Titicaca, and then from there I'll go down into like the Atacama Desert, which is basically where Chile is, and do La Serena, and then from La Serena I'll probably go to Santiago, and if I wanted to go into Patagonia I would, although I've never been to Patagonia, but I'd like to go down there, and then to Tierra del Fuego, Argentina, and then head up to Buenos Aires. That was the plan. But that's, yeah, it's literally called Lake Titicaca. It's right on the border right here. It's actually a real interesting place. It's real interesting. I haven't been there, but I've seen stuff about it. Lake Bada Bing, Bada Boom. Yeah, something like that. Oh, you live in Bolivia. That's cool. So you live in Bolivia. Well, is it travel friendly? I mean, everything that I read about it was like, no dice. Jeff S. says, yeah, the city's up there at 12,000 feet. He's not lying. I mean, Bogota, Colombia was 8,000 feet. Medellin was like 7,500 or like 5,500 or 7,500 feet. Even like San Jose, Costa Rica was like a mile high. Mexico City is like 7,000 feet. So, I mean, like you're in Mexico City and you're walking and you're like, is it the air pollution that's got me heavy breathing? And you're like, what's the elevation in Mexico City? Oh, 7,000 feet. Damn. Because you guys know, while we're on the subject of unique names, Mexico City's built on a lake bed called Tenochtitlan. And that's why Mexico City's sinking. So when you go into Mexico City, you'll go into like a cathedral, like the Zocalo even, or like one of these big cathedrals, and the cathedral's like sitting there like this. You're like, can I go in there? And it's like this big, massive Zocalo cathedral, and it's like tilted. It actually makes it more interesting because you're like, how's this building still standing? And why is it still standing? And what's the deal? Is it dangerous? But It's because it was built on Lake Tenochtitlan, which was the Aztec lake when Hernan Cortez showed up. Jeff S. says La Paz will tear up your lungs. Yeah, no, I mean Mexico City tears up my lungs, but Bogota was even doing me in. I would be walking up the hill in Bogota to Monserrate, and I'm like, what the heck, man? Because I come from low elevation. I'm not used to that. Yeah, Mexico City was built on tons of lake beds, and I mean, if you look at the journal entries of the Spanish when they arrived in Mexico City, they said it was the padre that was actually documenting it. He said that it was the most beautiful place he had ever laid eyes upon. When he was referring to the Valley of Mexico and Lake Tenochtitlan, where the Aztecs had built the city. But as you guys know, they were doing something that the Catholic priest did not agree with, which was, I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but you guys can guess what they were doing. To appease the goddess of fertility, supposedly, and I wasn't there, so all I can do is hearsay, but human sacrifice, and that was what that was where they talked to Montezuma, the king Montezuma. That and the stories, you guys know the rest from there. But the Padres, when they said they landed there, they said it was the most beautiful place they'd ever laid eyes upon. It turned into Mexico and South America live chat. Yeah, it really did. I mean, we've been going for 2 hours and 5 minutes, so we can go back to Arizona, but we've got a lot of likes. If you guys give me over 250, we can keep going. It's Friday night. I don't really have anything to do. Except the reason I'm able to do this long one, shout out to Starbucks, Mocha, whatever this is. I got the hot one. Usually when it's cold, I get the iced coffee. But when it's hot, I get the iced coffee. When it's cold, I get the hot coffee. So that's what it is. How bad is the scorpion problem? The scorpion problem in Arizona, yeah, knock on wood, I don't see them. Maybe I don't know. I don't see them. I'm not trying to see them either. So, I mean, it just depends. Some people have like 500 damn scorpions in their backyard, and, it is what it is. How about the roach problem? Again, I mean, I would say if you move into old buildings, you're going to have those problems. If you move into new builds, the problem is not as bad. But what happens, what ends up happening is irresponsible people leave boxes out, and then they travel with those boxes from wherever they're coming from, and the cockroaches will live in those boxes. And then when they move into the apartment complex, all it takes is one person to show up with 3 or 4 cockroaches, and then what happens from there? So it's those people who move from out of state who bring their bugs with them, because they don't really think about other people like that. So that's what it is. Sonoran toad problem. I mean, no, we don't see toads. There's hardly any toads in Phoenix. I mean, where are you going to see the toads? I mean, we used to have tadpoles in some of the creeks, but not so much. Yes, the closer you are to the mountains and ranges, buttes. Well, we talked about the best places. That'll be coming up on the next one. I saw a coach whip snake last year, said Citizen PI. I've never had any issues with javelinas. They mostly stay distant. Javelina can be invasive because, they're a pig. It's a peccary, right? So they can be a pain in the butt. Yeah, we get some frogs. Did you talk about the new highway from Tucson to Vegas? Yeah, so I touched on it. I could touch on it more. I think it's called like Highway 15 or Highway 11 maybe. Yeah, Interstate 11. Let's dial it in. So you guys who don't know about this, we do have a new proposed highway, 15 mile. Wait. The first phase of the Interstate 11 project between Phoenix and Las Vegas, a 15-mile, 318 million segment in Nevada. Okay, is this an old document? Like, come on, Google. Come on, Google. I wonder if did that infrastructure bill pass? The American Sustainability or whatever it's called. There's a good website if you guys want, the Phoenix New Times. They're pretty good. They'll give you some information. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook. But let's see, Interstate 11. Either way, they're building like a super corridor to connect Vegas. Vegas is supposed to be getting the Oakland A's also. All right, guys, thanks for watching. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thanks to everyone who liked the video. Thanks to everyone who checks out Island Hopper TV. If you guys want to see those other videos from Latin America, all across Costa Rica, Colombia, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, probably the best one that I did that was most popular was the U.S. Virgin Islands. St. Thomas, St. John. If you guys want to go to the Virgin Islands, there's our videos. We also did Punta Cana, Isla Solana in Dominican Republic. Those were popular. So check them out over on Island Hopper TV. Like I said, I put the link in the description and I put it at the top of the chat. So you guys could check that out. And you could check out the Costa Rica vlogs. There's plenty of videos to go through if you guys like travel. I mean, I do my best to do the travel guides. I show you the food, show you the good stuff, the walking tours, La Fortuna where the volcanoes are, and we'll see you guys on the next one.